All right, welcome in. It is time for Total Bases. I just realized Tokyo Brandon didn't get the memo to wear green because then we would have had the nice stoplight theme here. Brian's in red. No, that's okay. I threw the Sienna shirt on today. I really just lack of clean clothes at this point. So felt like repping the boys here, but it's Friday. It's time for Total Bases. We're going to talk Major League Baseball for the next 45 to 50 minutes. Hopefully find some winners. Something we did yesterday on the show was find winners. Another parlay, 3-team winner that's back-to-back days. And suddenly the show parlay is plus 8.52 units, which is basically kind of what we said. Like, you know, it's going to kind of come out. And once we hit a couple, we'll be back ahead. So that was great. That was a good thing that happened yesterday. For me, I never got to the window with any Major League Baseball. I went 1-1 in my plays, which were both in AAA. Bryan Leonard, how was your Thursday night?
So you loved the card so much yesterday, and then you ended up not playing anything.
Yeah, exactly. No, seriously. Like, it was one of those days where I'll call them this, Brian. I had 7 fair weather opinions, and I kind of just decided to scrap them. If I bet yesterday, it would have been the Pirates and the White Sox, and we know what happened with the White Sox. So it was fine.
Yeah, I ended up going 2-1. Small plays. I really didn't like yesterday's card. I had Atlanta, a loser there, but I had Seattle in the under. I used a 1% on Seattle because it was such a higher line, but that one worked out perfectly. When you got an under in a game and you got the home team winning 1-0. So I went 2-1, continue our streak. Let me get a quick look at what our current numbers are. 28-9 overall, and I think it's even when I break it down a little bit, it's even better. 28-9 overall, 20-5 the last 25 games. So yeah, doing really well. Anytime I can have a winning day on a day that I really didn't love anything, I can't complain at all about that. So yeah, continuing doing well, and I like today's card much better. So if you're looking for a bigger play, we'll have a bigger play out today as opposed to the smaller ones we had yesterday.
Yep, I got a 5%er up today. I'm going for 6 straight 5% wins in Major League Baseball. Tokyo Brandon closed us out. We were joking. 6-0 deficit, no problem. Dodgers win, and they win huge, 12-7. Aside from that great call on the Dodgers to close out our parlay, how was your day, TB?
Yeah, I was on the Reds. I think we all agreed that the Reds were a live dog, and I cashed that. Milwaukee had the series in hand, and I like taking teams against teams that already have the series clinched. So that was a good one. And then I was on Miami, which was a big dud. So I went 1-1 in MLB. I just won 2 4% plays in the KBO and lost one in the 9th inning with Deuce on. But yeah, I went 2-1 in KBO. So can't complain. It's a winning day.
Sports says it seems like you guys have a lot of 5%ers. Well, when there's 3 of us, there's going to be a lot of them. I would say individually, a few a month, maybe 4 or 5 a month. Like, so I don't think they're as frequent as you think. It's just when the 3 of us do a show together, it's times 3. So, that is probably why they seem to pop up a little bit more. We now have I was sort of doing the intro stuff as I was waiting for the numbers to populate. We now have a pretty good amount of people in here live. So let's get into it. Bryan Leonard, not necessarily the feature game, but certainly it's going to be our feature game for purposes of the fact that it is on Apple TV. It is the game that the entire country is going to get one way or another if you have the Apple TV app. The only way you're watching this one, because that's what Major League Baseball has done at this point. You've got to have about 10 different streaming services to watch all the games. So let's start there. However, Rays kind of deserve some shine at the moment. They are rattling off wins again, and now they head to Houston. Kick us off, Rays Astros.
It's been a while since I talked about the most lucky and the least lucky teams in baseball. Obviously, Tampa Bay continues to be the most lucky. It's bouncing between the Tigers and the Reds for the least lucky, but they're up there. But Tampa Bay has been very lucky. You're going to be considered lucky if you win a lot of one-run games, and Tampa Bay has done that for a long time. They've had pretty good bullpens going back years, and there's not a high payroll team, and they've got to find ways to win. And in reality, they've always talked about Cleveland being a team that is a low payroll team, having a lot of success. Tampa Bay has been really good. They've got great coaching. They've got great management. They just have a crappy ballpark to play in. And if you haven't been to Tampa Bay, no reason to go, because they've done a few things differently. But overall, it's my least favorite ballpark I've been to. Pittsburgh is the best, by the way. Martinez against Arrighetti. Martinez is a guy who people continue to wait for him, the shoe to fall on him, but he's found a lot of success here. And Tampa Bay's been very good at developing pitching. They've helped him out a little bit. And right now, if you take a look at the line, it's basically a pick 'em with a total of an 8.5 to the over, maybe minus 120. Arrighetti's a guy who started off terrifically this year, but we knew the shoe was going to fall on him, and it has lately. Hasn't been nearly as good, but Houston's been very good at home, and this is going to be an interesting game. It's kind of tough to handicap. Tampa Bay's playing over their heads, but they've always done that. It's very few times you're going to get Houston in this price range, in this ballpark. The Tampa Bay is going to have a little bit of negative regression eventually. I don't know if it comes here. I don't want to back Arrighetti. So if I'm playing it, I'm probably leaning Tampa Bay, but I wouldn't want him unless I'm getting like plus 110, and I don't think I'm going to ever get that at all in this game. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to be passing on this one.
Yeah, Tokyo Brandon, we have a pretty substantial win streak going for the Rays. They have now won, I believe. I'm just trying to count. I think it's 9 in a row. Completed a I'm sorry. They played, I think it's 8 in a row. Completed the sweep of the Royals yesterday. Whatever it is, 8 or 9 in a row. It's still very impressive. Teams won at a very impressive rate this year. That's one thing. Like the Rays or not, you can't argue with like the rate at which they're winning games. The question is, are they going to win here? How do you see it?
Yeah, currently I have my MLB play out already today. I'm also doing a live KBO show at 9 p.m. Eastern. KBO. Not a lot of people doing KBO. So, the Rays bullpen is on fire right now, but Houston's bullpen's playing pretty well too. So I like both bullpens. Nick Martinez, strange guy because he's 7-2, but I've got him on a curve of 30, ranked 21 out of 30. So either he's getting real lucky or he's using smoke and mirrors to win all these games, because the Rays are not exactly scoring a lot for him. However, I do have them ranked number 4 in run production in current form right now. So I have the Rays over the Astros in almost every category I measure, but still the Astros are a 43-win team. They're not, chopped liver here. Not a great home record. Rays have a losing record on the road. Martinez, I don't know if I trust him, but I definitely don't trust Arrighetti. So I think it's a decent number. I mean, you're getting Tampa Bay for only minus 110, 112. And they're probably the better put together team, but you got to wonder, are they smoke and mirrors, or are they going to continue doing this? I'm not sure. So I probably won't bet the game because I don't like Nick Martinez either, to be honest.
Yeah, I was just trying to check my score projection here. I was trying to go off of memory. It is 9.15, and I kind of like the over. It makes sense. Arrighetti, we've talked about on this show the regression that he was probably due at some point in this year, and he's now hit that a little bit. And he's a guy that I've always sort of felt like at the big league level needed to produce swing and miss, needed to get his strikeouts. When he first got up, he used to really nibble. He used to nibble a lot. He'd miss, and he'd get himself in trouble by walking guys. He's gotten better about that. I actually think the ABS system has helped him greatly, because I don't think he worries about trying to hit corners now or trying to get calls. He can be a little wild and still scrape a corner and get a call for it. But here's the thing: when you face the Rays don't really strike out. They're not a type of team that's gonna like swing and miss a ton. They're really the whole offensive philosophy with the Rays is to just kind of put the ball in play, slap the ball in play. They're not just out there trying to hit home runs and then not have like Like they play small ball. They're good at getting on base and doing the little things. I think that's tough for a guy like Arrighetti. On the other side, TB, I agree with you. Not super high on Nick Martinez. And the Astros as a team are kind of starting to come around. Like this is a better Astros team than they were a month and a half ago. So I don't really want to go against them. I feel like this is where it could end here, Bryan Leonard, for the Rays. I can't see them just winning through the weekend. So the run is going to end at some point. I think this one goes over 8.5. No, I actually didn't say that, TB. I liked the Rays in the series with the Royals. I had a 4% on the Rays the other night, and I pretty much liked the Rays in every game against the Royals. So no, I haven't said that yet. I'm saying it now. I think this is a tough series for the Rays. Bryan Leonard, go ahead.
Yeah, the streak is 8 in a row, and by the numbers that I use, Tampa Bay's Tampa Bay's pitcher is going to have the least amount of walks in the game, whereas Houston's on the card, and Houston's going to have the most walks in the game. And now TB does his chronic walker type of thing. So that's going to add up to be like 2 extra base runners for Tampa Bay just from walks during the first 5 innings when these starters are in there. So, Tampa Bay is the side that is probably going to get there. It's just not the line I was hoping to get.
And Tokyo Brandon, you are correct. I said it during the Diamondback series. I thought that they would struggle in the D-back series. They won. I just didn't like the Royals at all. So I wanted no part of the Rays and I like the Rays in the Royals series. I think they struggle against the Astros, but I really just like the over. Go ahead.
Let me interject real quick. Like Bryan was saying, I do projections. I put them on X already. So Tokyo Underbar Brandon, you can check out my walks, but I'll read them to you right now. I got Nick Martinez at 2 walks and Spencer Arrighetti at 3 walks. So that's just what I project today. So,
all right, TB, I'm going to stay with you. The Rays, the D-backs were the team that I thought the Rays would struggle with. They ended up somehow sweeping that series. So let's go back to that game. This is actually the other national TV, Apple TV app game tonight. You always get 2 on a Friday on the Apple app. And the next one is Brewers Diamondbacks. Omni Syndicate wants to talk this game. So first of all, appreciate the donation. Everything you guys donate to the show gets donated to charity. Something that the home office prides themselves on the charity work they do. And so it's nice that we can take the donations to the show and get those to charity as well. Brewers D-backs for Omni Syndicate. He says Harrison Cabrera. D-backs are hitting left-handed pitching, and this is a buy spot for the D-backs, in his opinion, one of the best run line offenses. So I guess that would be against the -1.5 or +1.5. Tokyo Brandon, to you, it's Kyle Harrison, it's Jose Cabrera. The desert tonight, Chase Field. How are you seeing this one?
By the way, you can get a double play for two of the 3 of us for 3 days. Huge discount. Adam's got a 5% out today. You could grab that. Plus Bryan or me with him, and you can get it for the next 3 days. It'd be a huge value considering you'll get a 5% play guaranteed. This one, so Kyle Harrison, if you cover his name and logo, he's got the same numbers as Mizrowski. He's 7-1 with a 2 ERA. So he's pitching really well, but his expected numbers say that he's due for a little bit of regression. He's not exactly that guy. Whereas I don't think Mizrowski's going to be regressing too much, although he's going to have a bad game once in a while like he did yesterday. But he didn't really have a bad game. His team was dropping the ball. But anyways, I digress. This is a tough one because I don't know much about Cabrera, and my numbers say he's pretty average. But, you'd like to go with Harrison. It's hard to argue with a 7-1 pitcher, but I got the Diamondbacks hitting better, and I've got the Diamondbacks bullpen slightly better than San Francisco here. Couple of red flags also. Harrison's numbers against these batters in his career, not really good. So the knee-jerk reaction would be to go with the Giants, but I don't know if I'm going to do it or not.
Of course, it's the Brewers, but TB, I know why you have San Francisco on your mind, because when I was looking at this game, No, I know why you said that. It's gonna make my transition to Bryan easier. Of course, Kyle Harrison spent a lot of time in San Francisco and didn't always pitch well in this ballpark when he was part of the Giants. You talked about the Diamondbacks against left-handed pitching. They're one of the best teams in the league against lefties. Omni, I misspoke, and so now I'll go to Bryan Leonard. He's saying, is this a buy spot for the Diamondbacks? He's asking us, so we'll ask Bryan Leonard his opinion on this one.
Very interesting game to discuss today. Harrison, the lefty, against Cabrera. We're looking at basically a 150. Let's go 155 on Milwaukee with a total 8.5 heavily to the over or 9 heavily to the under. I know in Arizona, when they're off of a loss and they're at home, they've gone, I think they're 16-0-2 to the under. Something to keep in mind. As was mentioned, Harrison, Arizona's very familiar with Harrison because he used to pitch in their division. Slightly different expectations because he's made some changes. Milwaukee has made some changes with him. So he's not going to be the same Harrison that they have seen before. I do think Cabrera's pretty good. He's a guy that not many people know about right now. If I'm looking to play this game from a side selection, I think there's value on Arizona here. You're getting, I even seeing a 150 out there on the rebound, but that's by far, if you're in Vegas and you like Arizona, grab that now at the South Point because that's by far the best line out there right now. But it's a situation for me where Milwaukee yesterday, from a bullpen standpoint, basically it was a bullpen game for them as they used Anderson, Koenig, Kunnell, and Stallings was their relievers. They didn't use any of their top relievers. But it was mentioned Mizrachi. Mizrachi did not pitch as well as what it showed. They gave an error, which I think was questionable. If Milwaukee had been on the road, that would have been a hit. That's the problem you run into with the ERA is it all depends on who the score is in that game. And it should have been 5 earned runs instead of just 1 earned run for Mizrachi. But what was done, Cincinnati did, was they swung at the first pitch. And they didn't want to get in a position where they would fall behind because they knew Mizrachi could blow them away. And I think we're going to see that going forward. It's a smart thing to do when you're facing a dominant pitcher is, in the first 2 pitches, he's got to throw a strike. So I would expect some regression more than what we probably would have expected out of Mizrachi going forward. But Harrison, I think maybe treat it very similar because he's pitching very well. He's on the season while Mizrachi's number one on the Fangraphs roster resource. Harrison's very good, number 20. So they've got a terrific starting rotation. Even Brandon Sproat has come up and he's in the top 100 now. So a lot of things to look at in this game, but I actually prefer Arizona and I prefer the under. So let me take a quick look at the Milwaukee team total in this game. We're looking at it's 4.5 to the over, minus 130, which means they're going to score 5 runs. I kind of like the under there with Arizona being at home in this situation. So I'm going to use this as my parlay piece. I'm going to take I'm going to take Milwaukee under 4.5 at plus 110. That's a nice payback there for a team going on the road here. And Arizona they've hit lefties pretty well, but I think they're going to get to Harrison a little bit in this one. And I think Milwaukee's going to struggle a little bit offensively. They are a good team. They don't get a lot of home runs. They're a team that is able to move around the bases. That's something to keep in mind. But have them scoring 5 here in Arizona in this situation, I don't see it. So we're getting 4 or less in plus money. Hey, that's pretty good for me. So I'll take that.
Yeah, that's the full game team total under for the Brewers is what you're looking at. Under 4.5 for the plus full game, 110. Plus 110. Yeah, Omni, I'll just very quickly talk about Jose Cabrera before we move on to the next game. Great stuff in the minors. Not even just good. I would grade him out as well above average this year in minor league baseball. Most of the innings were at Double-A. But I would say he got even better at AAA. Pretty much wasn't there very long. Watched pretty much every inning he threw for Reno. Like his stuff's very, very good. Absolutely expected to play at the big league level. And in 2 starts so far at the big league level, it's looked pretty good. So I have no reason to tell you not to like. There's nothing about Cabrera yet that makes me not only want to play him. I think he's got really good stuff relative to many of the other AAA pitchers that have come up this year. Kind of think he could be one of the more underrated ones. I don't think because he's a foreigner, he wasn't like a high draft pick coming up through the minors, highly touted prospect. I think he was just an undrafted like international free agent from like the DR or something like that. Those guys don't get as hyped up by the like the media here. Whereas it's like, you got a guy who's a first or second rounder, he played at LSU or something. Like we know about those guys. They get all the attention. When their major league debut might as well be a holiday, right? Like they had Noah Schultz Day in Chicago the day he made his major league debut. This guy just kind of, no fanfare, great in the minors, comes up. He's made 2 starts, and yet no one has talked about him. Very, very good, great stuff. Think he's very underrated. So, Bryan, I think you found a good one with the Brewers team total under. All right, TB, let's get you back in here. I know this is one of your favorite topics. That's Mets baseball. Alex Rand, thank you for the donation. Much appreciated. He says, don't like the Mets. Well, you and just about everyone else. I don't know who. There's not many people out there, even the diehard Mets fans I know, which is a lot of them because I'm from New York, grew up with some, went to college with a bunch of them. They don't even like the Mets this year. But Alex says, don't like how the Braves are playing. Someone has to win. Mets, Braves to you, Tokyo Brandon. Who's winning this game?
Yeah, Adam, what team did you like when you were growing up? What team were you a fan of growing up?
I wasn't a fan of. You know what? I liked players. I was the impressionable 9-year-old that had the Ken Griffey Jr. teal Mariners jersey, even though I lived in upstate New York. Loved A-Rod, loved Griffey, loved those Diamondbacks teams with Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling. I was in Albany. There's no team near Albany. You've got the Yankees and Mets are 3 hours away. Fenway's 3 hours away. Back when I was a kid, the Expos were 3 hours away. So you just kind of like picked whoever. A lot of my friends were Yankees and Mets fans, though, and I wanted to go against them. I loved Ken Griffey Jr., though. 95, Tokyo Brandon, I know you'll remember this like it was yesterday. 95 wild card playoffs, the Mariners. Griffey sliding in to win the first ever wild card series was like a core memory for me as a kid. So that was the team I rooted for as a kid.
That was a good team. I grew up in Phoenix, and we didn't have a team back then until 2001, I believe. So, or whatever year the Diamondbacks came. So yeah, I actually liked the Phillies because I collected baseball cards, and I just thought Greg Luzinski looked cool, and I liked Steve Carlton. So I liked the Phillies when I was growing up for some odd reason. But anyways, I digress. Let's get on to this one. It's good to talk about stuff once in a while, Yeah, every once in a while I pull up the last 10 days standings and take a look at current form, because baseball is a lot about current form. We talk about baseball's like it's a soap opera. If you miss it for 3 days, Joni gets arrested, Joe's marrying someone else, and everything's different. So the Mets and the Yankees are the 2 worst teams in MLB in the last 10 days as far as win-loss is concerned and run production. So those 2 teams are not doing well at all. Holmes struggles sometimes. He's not exactly the most stable pitcher, but you can't really argue with some of the numbers he's putting up. My rankings have him pretty average. I got Christian Scott pretty average as well. Both bullpens playing really well. The problem with the Braves is their bats had been cold, but the last couple games they're waking up a little bit. I still got them ranked 29 out of 30 in current form, but that goes 10 days back, 11 days back. So they're waking up a little bit. It'd be hard to bet the Mets. It really would. Even though, they got a decent pitcher on the mound. But Atlanta at -115 for a 50-win team against a 36-win team that's 17-27 on the road. Atlanta's a great home team. I don't see how you couldn't take Atlanta at this number if you're going to bet this game.
Bryan, I kind of think the number's decent here for the Mets, but the problem with the Mets is not the ability. It's like I kind of think this clubhouse is a disaster.
Momentum.
I think my hot take here. I think Francisco Lindor brought politics into the clubhouse, and it is probably the worst clubhouse in Major League Baseball. I think it's more that than the fact that like the skill, and it's like the skill of the team, and it's making it such a difficult handicap because the Mets just got Lindor back. The Mets are getting healthy. This team should be good, yet we watch them game after game go out and play bad baseball. So what do you even do? Like how do you? Yeah, and then they've got the New York media on their backs as well, Tokyo Brandon. So yeah, what do you do with this team? How do you bet for or against the Mets at this point?
Yeah, there was an article speaking about Lindor and Soto last year. Supposedly they hated each other. Management came out and said that's gone. They've made up, and now there's not a problem. But clearly, it's butting heads a little bit to veterans that have been the best players on their teams in the past. And it's Brandon will let you know because he's been there before that you've got to have that camaraderie in the bullpen or in the dugout, and they just don't seem to have it. I used Atlanta yesterday and lost. That was my one loser. The numbers say when the Mets are playing as an underdog, you want to bet against them. But I kind of like the way the game sets up with Scott. I like Scott a little bit better than Holmes. From a bullpen standpoint, the Mets bullpen is in far better shape than Atlanta's is. And Atlanta's got an excellent bullpen. So they had to use some guys the last couple of days that may not be able to come back and pitch again tonight. So my numbers say Atlanta. My head says this is a game that the Mets should be able to win. It's a tough handicap. By the way, so I won't have anything on it, but you were mentioning uniforms and Ken Griffey Jr. Those Mariners uniforms they wore yesterday, that dark blue with the trident, awesome looking uniform. As soon as I turn on the game, I go, that's the best looking uniform in baseball this year. I'm a sucker for the dark blue. I love the St. Louis Blues in hockey.
Yeah.
Those uniforms. If you're not going to watch the game, just check out those uniforms. Those throwback uniforms. They look awesome. But unfortunately, once again, I don't think I'm going to be involved in this game.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because, and then just one final thing, like I guess I'll make one more case for don't be so quick to bet against the Mets either. I mean, Christian Scott's got really good stuff. The Braves have used some bullpen. I would be willing to play against Holmes, but then it just goes back to some of these things that you see, go back to the Blue Jays series. The Mets have made so many mistakes while they are just a mistake-laden team. And one thing I think about sometimes when it comes to clubhouse, just remember last year, Kevin Pillar retired and they asked him hey, you hung it up in the middle of the season. And he came out and he was like, this is just not a fun team to play for. And he was on the Rangers and he was like, this is not a fun team to play for. No one's friends. Everyone just kind of does their own thing. And he said that back in May or June. And then we watched the Rangers sort of struggle to be anything other than a 500 team last year. That is my big red flag with the Mets. And I think they need to get rid of Lindor somehow and hire Albert Pujols because him and Soto are boys. Pujols is the manager. That city would embrace him. And then you play all those young kids. Mets have a lot of really good young talent still. That's the way back for the Mets, but that's not going to happen tonight. So, do what you will with that. Tokyo Brandon, I know you remember this. Slick Vic says D-backs, and it was 2001. My favorite player as a kid was Cal Ripken Jr. My favorite team ever, my favorite MLB team ever was the 2001 Diamondbacks. That was the best. That's my favorite baseball team of all time.
Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling. Oh, yeah. Kurt Schilling with the blood on his top. Yeah, it was
Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling could get along.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Randy Johnson's like a painter or something, or
photographer, and I guess Griffey's big into. So is Ken Griffey Jr. is big into photography too. Yeah. Very interesting stuff right there.
Two former Mariners.
Great team as well. Omni says, let's talk Red Sox Angels. This one's interesting. Bryan, I'll let you kick this one off. Jake Bennett, probably the probably the best sort of young pitcher the Red Sox have, which isn't saying much. Like if you don't count the guys that were up last year, if you don't count Early and Tolley, who came up last year, Jake Bennett's kind of the only one in their organization from a pitching standpoint this year. But he's pretty good. Detmers is a guy that we kind of love. Angels, Red Sox, to you, how are you seeing this one?
Yeah, two very good left-handers, Bennett and Detmers. We're looking at basically the Angels were about a 110 favorite, total 7.5, slightly to the over, 8 to the under. Bennett didn't have the fanfare the other guys did, but he's actually been very good. I think it was a surprise to a lot of people. Maybe they brought him up, didn't expect him to have success, just bringing him up for a little bit, but he's done very well for him. The Angels, Detmers is really broken out into his own this year. We've known it for a long time. Angels aren't known for developing pitching at all. In fact, they're not known for much lately other than losing. But he's been very good. And I kind of like, even though the line is at 7.5 here, I kind of like the under in this one. The Angels, we talked about this yesterday when we broke down my Seattle underplay. The batters for the Angels have been slumping, and they continued yesterday, obviously getting shut out. They're not the same team as they were earlier in the season. They started the year, if you remember back, the Angels were not going to cover off the ball, but they had Trout in the lineup, and he's having a career year until he got hurt. Boston, I trust their pitching more than I do the hitting right now. Boston's hitting for the most part has been a disappointment. I do like the hitters on this team. They got a lot of good young guys, but some of the guys they sent down to the minors, some of the guys have been hurt. Who knows when they're going to see a couple of those guys back because of the injuries. Boston's got a limited offense. The Angels have got a limited offense, and I really like these two pitchers. And, as I've talked about in the past with lefties, if I could get a chance to back a lefty at a good price, I will, because you only see him basically 30% of the time. So I like this game to go under the total of 7.5. Don't trust either offense, and I like both starting pitchers.
I can't disagree with that at all. I talked about it yesterday. You talked about it yesterday. Your best bet for the show was the under and what was a 1-0 game. Mm-hmm. And I said, boy, like this lineup is rough on paper. And then Denzer Guzman's great. He's like a scrappy guy. Loved him at the AAA level. But like if he's your 3 hitter, like we got issues right now. Wade Meckler, like if these guys are in the heart of your order, we got issues, Tokyo Brandon. That's what the Angels are trotting out there on a regular basis. But, I know you've liked Detmers as well. He sort of remade himself into an ace. Third time's the charm for him. First 2 times he got called up, didn't work out. Now he's a stud. So how are you seeing Red Sox Angels?
He was definitely pitching like a stud earlier, but he's given up 7 earned in his last 2 starts, kind of coming back down to earth. Still like his stuff. He does pass the eye test, but he is prone to give up an 8 burger, a 5 burger here and there. So I actually like Bennett better. If you look at Bennett's game log, it's pretty impressive, although it's short. But I mean, he's gotten 5 inning, 5, 6, 6. He has yet. I mean, he gave up 4 runs in 1 start, and all of his other starts, 2 or less runs. I mean, he's pitching really well, actually. Taking a look at command and control, both of these pitchers way below my acceptable range as far as their walk ratio. So neither guy is walking very many. And I got both of these teams hitting pretty average right now. So the first 5 is 4.5. I'm on Bryan's boat. I think the under would be a way to go here. The first 5 under 4.5 seems like a really good bet to me. It's minus 134. I don't know if that's an alt line or not. I'm seeing it on Pinnacle, and I know people in America can't use Pinnacle, but I think that's going to be my parlay leg. Is going to be this first 5 under 4.5 at minus 135. I think that's great. Is that the normal line, Bryan, or is that an alt line?
Let me check that out.
If it's 4, I would take 4.
Well, you can lay 4.5 anywhere from 25 to 40, minus 125.
135.
Or you could lay 4 at minus 110.
What should I use for the parlay? Can you guys get a 4.5 out there, and we can do 4.5? Or
But basically, it's half and half right now. So whichever you prefer, 4.5 obviously is more important. But you're going to
this
have to lay
number
a
will
little bit
probably go down to
juice. It's up to
4.
you.
So this number will probably
Yeah.
move to a 4. So I'll say 4 at -110, just to be fair for everyone who's watching the replay.
And I will
like
say,
Brandon.
you mentioned Detmer's last 2 starts. He played in Sutter Park 2 starts ago. That was his bad start, and really nobody pitches well there. So, and if you take a look at his, let me get back to that page here. If you take a look at his ERAs, well, we won't go yet. Let's go xFIP. He had a 5.04 in that game, whereas the ERA was 7.5. But if you take a look at his other ones going back, 3.48, 3.98, 2.27, 3.64. So the guy's been very consistent overall. He's not going to give up 4 runs. So, I'm with you on that one. I think that's a good bet.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if he's that good. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, the haters hate to see us agree. They're going to be furious because I love the under here too. Makes complete sense. Reed Detmers, listen, the thing I love about Reed Detmers is he doesn't need to mix it up to go out there and dominate. Like his fastball slider are so good that like no one hits, he never gets hit hard. And he's the rare 2-pitch pitcher, that starting pitcher that it's coming. It's going to be a fastball or slider, and you still can't hit it hard. No one can hit it hard. It's not to say they can't put it in play. But his whiff rate and chase rate are very, very good. But it's like, even when he's getting put in play, I'll go back to that A's game. I had him for 5%, and I won on Friday night in his most recent start. He left one up, and it got hit out of the ballpark, whatever. Like, it's fine. But like, that is not the norm. That's he's really not putting people on bit. Like, he's not putting a ton of people on base. And then he does throw some off-speed stuff, but it's entirely he just wastes it with the off-speed. So, he'll throw a changeup or a curveball, but it's never in the zone, and it's really just to give you a different look, so then he can wipe you out with the slider next pitch. Remember, this is a guy that got called up 2 different times, struggled in his first 2 call-ups to the big leagues, went back down. So he's like a mature sort of he's a more veteran guy than I think people give him credit for at this point. I'm willing to say it right here. Reed Detmers is an ace, not only for the Angels. He'd be an ace on 20 of the 30 big league teams. 15 to 20 of the 30 big league teams. He's that good. I agree with both of you. I think this is an under. Yeah. All right, back to the chat.
My parlay leg will be under 4 at -110. That's
for the first 5, right? TB for the first 5.
Under 4 months. Yep. I will point out that both bullpens are in excellent shape. And when I talk about bullpens, somebody got in the YouTube chat yesterday and mentioned something about, I'm looking at the back end of the bullpen, not the guys that are going to come in the 5th, 6th inning. I'm looking for the back end, and Chapman hasn't pitched in 4 days. Whitlock hasn't pitched in 3, Slayton in 2. So both teams are in really good shape in that. So if you're playing it for the full game or the first half, I think it's a pretty good bet.
All right, Stacy says AT has to cover the Yankees game today. I think we can do that for you. That's of course Yankees Twins. This is in the Bronx tonight, and I just want to scroll up to that one. It's one of the earlier games. Should be hot again in the Bronx this evening for this game, and that's Garrett Cole. And I think we're going to see the Twins go Paredes or some sort of some combination of arms that they're going to probably try to piece together for 9 innings. It's something that we've seen them do on occasion this year. So Tokyo Brandon, Twins, Yankees, Garrett Cole at home. How are you seeing this one?
Yeah, man, the Yankees, what have they lost? 7 in a row now? And in the last 10, they're only scoring 2.8 runs per game. They're giving up 5.3 in their last 10. They are dead last in all of Major League Baseball. The funny thing about this team is right when they lost Judge, you thought they'd drop off, but they didn't. They actually got hot right after he went out, and now they're starting to go down, and they're going to drop the ball twice a game. So it's really hard to back this team right now. I backed Cole in his last start, and he was awful. So, and I lost, obviously. I believe that was my last 5% that I lost. So, yeah, it's tough to back the Yankees. Minnesota's bullpen's playing really well. I got them ranked 7 out of 30, where I got the sorry. Mistake. Minnesota's bullpen, I got them ranked 24, where I've got the Yankees bullpen ranked 7. So the Yankees bullpen, pretty good shape right now. If Minnesota's going to make a bullpen game out of this, that might give the Yankees a little chance to break out of this mini slump that they have going on here. But Minnesota's the better hitting team right now. Got them ranked 9, got the Yankees ranked 28. So my inclination is to take Yankees under from here on out until they show me they can hit. But I don't know if I'm going to do that in a bullpen game where they're playing the 24th ranked bullpen. So I'm staying away from this, to make a long story short. Get a double play. 2 of us 3 days. Adam's got a 5%er. Take him and one of us, Bryan and myself, and make some money.
Yeah, no, the 5%ers have been, well, everything's been pretty good, but I'm going for my 6th straight 5% MLB 5% win. I had my season numbers in here in front of me. I am plus 42.64 units in baseball this year, and I'm up in all 3. So I'm up in Major League Baseball, AAA, and KBO, just sort of steady across the board. And a big reason for that is the 5% run in the MLB. Prior to that, I was chasing an MLB, and I've been able to flip that to the positive because the 5% plays have been so good. So hopefully we have another one tonight. I maybe misspoke a little bit. I don't think Paredes is like really going to be treated as a bullpen guy here. I mean, it's going to be his start, Bryan. It's just, I've talked about this with the Twins. They've gone the Marlins route a little bit of let's see how many guys we can get in the organization that are these like bulk guys that can go 3 or 4 innings, that are a bullpen guy, but we can use them as a starter, but they're probably better suited in long relief, and maybe we'll put an opener ahead of them. That seems to be what the Twins' strategy is with pitching right now. Mike Paredes went 5 1/3, gave up 3 runs last time out against the Rockies. Problem is, I mean, it's the Rockies. It was in Minnesota, so it wasn't like he was doing that at Coors Field. Now he's got to go pitch at Yankee Stadium, but you know what? I kind of like Paredes. I think the Twins might be live here. I do not like what I've seen out of the Yankees. And to Tokyo Brandon's point, when they have not had Aaron Judge the last 5 years, they're close to a 4. They win 40% of the time. They're like a plus 440 win percentage team. Why would you lay prices with the Yankees without Judge? As I guess the question.
This is a game where I happen to think this is the most important game for the Yankees they've had so far this season. They have lost, 7 in a row? They're on a bad losing streak. They had yesterday off to recuperate. Now they're playing at home with, I'm not going to say their ace. Obviously, Cole's not their ace any longer, but he's a veteran player who has been in big games in the past. And the Yankees got to win this game, no doubt about it. And they're playing a Minnesota team. And being from Cleveland, I've always been a Yankees hater. George Steinbrenner, I said this in the past, that he wanted to own the Indians. The Indians turned him down, and then he went to the Yankees, and look what happened. I've always been a Yankees hater. That's because the Yankees always, back in those days, would buy the best players in baseball. Regardless of how the Yankees are playing, they dominate Minnesota. They win like 70% of the games they played against Minnesota going back years. Minnesota is a team that is playing a little over their heads, I think, that so far this season. They've got a back-end starter on the mound. He's okay. He's nothing great. But because this game means so much to the Yankees, I think they're going to find a way to win it. Am I going to lay the 180, 190? Not as a big play. Maybe it'll be similar to the Seattle yesterday where I put out as a 1 or something. But I could see the Yankees being worthy of a bet here because I don't see how they're going to lose this game. The importance of this game is there for the Yankees. It's not for Minnesota. And I'm seeing lines drop down right now. The overnight was about 190s. I'm seeing as low as 178 right now. If this game gets down to 175, I may come in with maybe a 3% play on the Yankees. I really think this is everybody's in on a game. And especially with some of the things that are going on with the Yankees and obviously with some of their players, they've got to turn this around, and they got to do it fast. And they're playing the series against Minnesota. Then I believe they go on the road until the All-Star break. So they were just shut out at home by Detroit. They were swept at home by Detroit. Before that, they were swept by the Red Sox. Now they're going to play a lesser team at home. I'm going to find a way to play the Yankees in this, one way or the other. Maybe lay the 1.5 or something. But I think the Yankees, this is the spot. And we talk about spots all the time in football, in basketball. We don't talk about it many times in baseball. This is the all-in game for the Yankees. You're going to get the best effort out of the Yankees in this one. So I'm going to find a way to be on them somehow. But at this price, it won't be a big play. But I want the Yankees in this game.
All right, you've done enough. I am not going to touch the Twins. That was a very compelling argument right there. I think the fact that they have lost 7 in a row, Friday night at home here, I like where your head's at in terms of that angle. And you reminded me about the Yankees absolutely own this Twins team going back to playoffs from like over a decade ago. The Twins cannot beat the Yankees.
Especially in the playoffs.
And it hasn't been talked about enough recently. It used to be like a common knowledge thing. It hasn't been talked about.
They would get in every year. The Twins would get in every year and get knocked out in the first round because they got to play the Yankees.
My straight up numbers have the Yankees winning 5-4. I don't, for
yeah,
what it's worth.
that's fair.
I would take that.
I'm not betting it.
It's fair.
Yankees fans.
I'm not betting it. Doesn't mean I have to bet it.
There you go.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna go with a spot play for my parlay league. I'm gonna take the Padres plus 1.5. I know it's Ohtani, but I really like Michael King. And if you want to talk about a spot, Padres this feels like a big game for them. They lose by 20 to the Cubs, which was ridiculous the other day. And then last night, Tokyo Brandon, they get a 6-0 lead. And managed to get blown out in the game they were up 6-0 in. My gut says they play well, and that if Michael King, who I think is very good, can match Ohtani, that this game is at least close late. So you are the Ohtani whisperer on the show. You foreshadowed this amazing season that he's had on the mound. So I will let you kick this one off. Ohtani, Michael King, Padres, Dodgers, probably the real feature of the card tonight.
Yeah, this is probably the game that everyone's going to watch. Ohtani, as we've covered in shows past, when you're rich, when you're richer than some countries, and you have everything. He's got a World Series ring. He won the Japan Series here with Nippon Ham Fighters. He's got everything, and so when you're this great, what you strive for is to do things that nobody else has done. He did a 50-50 last year, 50 stolen and 50 home run, first player ever. Now he wants to win the Cy Young. So outs over, I think, would be a good play here. But if I'm gonna play this, this is a spot, and it's a spot where when teams explode for runs, it seemed like, I looked at the box score while that game was going on. Every single Dodger except Hernandez had a hit in the 3rd inning. And when teams are just on fire like that, they just get cold the next day. They just do. I think a Dodgers team total under would be a good play here. I haven't put it out yet. I do have a play out in MLB today, but it's not in this game. But I think a Dodgers team total under, whether it be the first 5 or the full game, would be a good play here because I just see them getting cold after. I mean, man, that was just a turnstile yesterday. It was dum, dum, dum. I mean, Tommy Edman was hitting yesterday. So, yeah, that's how I would go. Dodgers team total under, I think, is the play.
Bryan, do you think Ohtani's getting tired from a pitching standpoint? Are you seeing any fatigue with him?
I haven't. This game reminds me a little bit of yesterday. If you remember back, our first game, I think it was the first game we discussed, and I liked the Philadelphia team total under. They had scored, 25 runs in the previous 3 games. They were playing at home, and some of the comments were that I was crazy, and they scored 1 run. I like your play here. My numbers that I have on this game, I have Ohtani coming up with basically the same stat line as I have Detmers in this game. Detmers is a basically a pick 'em, and Ohtani's laying 250. And obviously, the Dodgers are a lot better hitting team than the Angels are. But yeah, you've got to find a way to play San Diego some way in this game. I don't have the numbers to play him, but you could probably get 2.5 at a decent number here. And there's totals out there right now at 8. And in a game totaled at 8, if you can get 2.5 and not lay a whole lot, 1.5 is fine. Let me check the 1.5 here. I think it's getting even money. Plus 100 right now on San Diego plus 1.5. You can get plus 2.5, but probably a pretty reasonable number in this game. And that would be the way I would have to look at this. I mean, yes, you're standing in front of the best team in baseball on a hot streak with an excellent pitcher on the mound, but there's 162 games in the major leagues every single season. San Diego has everything going for this game, especially the way they played in Chicago. The way it was blown out like crazy. Whoever they put on the mound is going to struggle in that situation. But the way they blew that yesterday, these are professional players. They're going to remember that. You got to find a way to play San Diego one way or the other in this game, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do for the parlay. I'm going to take the plus 1.5 at even money. This is the thing. Like, I feel like the Padres have gotten, they've gotten some heat for not, a lot of guys underachieving, and not so much a lot of guys underachieving. It's their stars. That's the problem with the Padres. It's
Mets
their superstars.
Mets of the West.
It's their superstars that are not playing well. The Tatises, Machados, Jackson Merrills, like these are guys, like the guys that should be carrying this team are not playing well. Yet you can look at it a different way. None of those guys have played well yet, and they're still sitting here at 43-43. That's a pretty respectable record through 86 games. So the Padres still have everything to play for. They've now been embarrassed in back-to-back days. Michael King is still a guy that is like a fringe ace for me. Mm-hmm. He's not like total like frontline ace quite yet, but like he's pretty close to a number one guy. Like he would be a lot of teams' aces, I think. He like maybe not as many as Detmers, but he would be the number one on probably like 10 teams in the league. Like he's in my opinion, like he's better than I think he gets credit for. And I think that he had such a bad spring and a couple bad starts in April that I feel like people are mentally like, oh, like Michael King, we're out on him. And he's actually been very good so far this year. So if he can match Ohtani, and you give Bryan Leonard talked about it yesterday, the Padres, who cares about the back end of their bullpen? It's those top 3 or 4 guys. If you can, like the Padres, the front line of their pen, the high leverage guys are better than anyone in baseball. They will have an advantage over anyone in baseball. The Mason Miller, Morjan stack at the end of games, as good as it gets. I kind of like the Padres to win here. I will take the plus 1.5 for the parlay. I'm sure someone in the chat's like Trig's talking too much, but it was a point that needed to get driven home right there. Don't sleep on this pod.
Adam, you have to be.
I think the talking too much is when you start talking about where you've gone to baseball games and uniforms and hats and that kind of thing. Everything else is excellent baseball information.
Listen, I got to tell the people where I'm going. I got to meet some of the chat.
You got a fan club.
I've met a whole bunch. When
you go to Costco and the old lady gives you a free wiener, do you complain that her dress is ugly? Come on, guys.
Never been to Costco.
We're giving.
I wouldn't know. I've literally never been in a Costco.
I'm not taking free wieners from anybody.
Yeah, but that's only because we don't have many Costco's here in the Northeast. We have BJ's mostly. I think that's the equivalent.
My point is when someone's giving you free stuff, don't complain about it. Seriously.
There you go, TV. I like that. That was a. And let's see. I mean, listen. If you're complaining at this point, I don't know what to tell you. We've hit back-to-back 3-teamers here, but we're gonna try to do it again because we're trying to give you as many wins as possible. I've got a 5% play up for tonight that I love. That is on my page. You can get that on the double play package. Pair it with one of the other two gentlemen that you see on the screen. We've also got some very good site-wide specials that are now up. We're celebrating 4th of July here this weekend, of course. Hope everyone has a great holiday weekend. The three of us We'll still be here tomorrow. It's not a holiday for us. The show goes on. A lot of baseball on Saturday, and we will be here to do the show at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow ahead of last call. The parlay of the day, Padres plus 1.5. Bryan is going with a Brewers team total under 4.5. That's for the full game at plus 110 odds. And then Tokyo Brandon is going Red Sox Angels first 5 under 4 minus 110. So one more time, Padres plus 1.5, even money for the full game. Bryan is on Brewers team total under 4.5 plus 110. And then Tokyo Brandon going Red Sox Angels first 5 under 4 minus 110. Let's hit another 3-teamer. Let's make it a great week. My 5%ers up. Check out all the specials. Grab 2 of the 3 of us on the double play. Happy 4th of July. We'll see you guys to celebrate at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Have a great day, everybody.